Shalom family, this is Yaakov here coming back with another lesson today. Got a blockbuster lesson and a lot of information to get through today. But before we get to that, I just want to give all praises and glory to the Most High Yahweh and to His Son YAHAWASHI. So before we get started, I just want to ask you all to please give a like to this video, and please also do subscribe to this channel so I can keep more content coming for you all. So what I want us to discuss today is where is the true Holy Land or the true location of Israel, because when we open these scriptures and we read it for ourselves, we see that these Gentiles have lied to us about absolutely everything. So today we're going to basically be going into the Holy Land. Where is it? And we're also going to be discussing also a bit of the castle, the what is it called, the Castle of Good Hope in Cape Town, and also the significance of Cape Town in particular. So the first thing that I want to start off with is obviously with scripture, because we want to use the word of the Most High as our foundation for everything, and we have no shame in saying that we use the Bible as the foundation, because the Bible has never been proven wrong and it never will be. And here's Genesis chapter 13 verse 1. This is what I want to open with and bring your attention to. And Abram went up out of Egypt, he and his wife and all that he had, and Lot with him into the south. And Abram was very rich in cattle, in silver and in gold. And he went on his journey from the south even to Bethel. Now this is in the scripture describing the journey that Abraham took when he went to Bethel. And we know that Bethel is one of the cities that was given to Israel. It doesn't say that he went north from Egypt, and we all know geography and we all know where Egypt is. And I also know direction and I know where south is. So clearly where they're saying that the land of Israel is clearly not matching up to scripture. But this is not the only one that I have. Let's bring out more. Let me take you to the book of Numbers chapter 13 verse 17. And Moses sent them out to spy out the land of Canaan, and said unto them, Go you up this way southward, and go up into the mountain. So we can clearly read here that it's south, that Moses is telling them that the land of Canaan, the promised land, is south, and that the Abraham took journey south of Egypt. He never went north of Egypt. So this is clearly not matching up with scripture. So I just want to bring out just a reference from Wikipedia on the etymology of the word Africa. And here towards more the end, it says here that it's from the Phoenician word afar, meaning dust. So the name of Africa is derived, it's believed from the Phoenician root word afar. So that's quite interesting, and I want to show how that actually connects with the land of the ancient Israelites. So here's another source from the book of Judges chapter 6 verse 11, and it reads, And there came an angel of Yahweh and sat under an oak which was in Ophrah, that pertained unto Joash the Abiezerite and his son Gibeon. Now the main emphasis that I want to put on is on Ophrah and what that word actually means. And we're going to just go into the Hebrew lexicon here quickly, the concordance, and see what that word actually is in the Hebrew. Wow, that's very interesting. We see that this word actually in Hebrew is Afra. It's pronounced Afra, and it's one of the cities given to one of the Israelites, actually the sons of Joseph. So, and we also see that the definition of this word also means dust, which is also believed to be where the word Africa is derived from. So I want us to take a look at this ancient map that I found, and the location where today is known as South Africa, and we see that it's called Kafri Pure. So what I want us to put emphasis on is the root word there, afra or afre, which is the same what we see in the Hebrew word afra, which is the same land or city that was given to the sons of Joseph, namely the tribe of Manasseh. So I find this very interesting and very eye-opening. So please take note. You also, if you think this is a stretch or a fluke, here's also another map that I want to bring out as well of the Portuguese. And this is what they had to say on their map of the region of Southern Africa. And it says here, Terras de Hebreas, the territory of the Hebrews, man. So it's clear, man. It's clear as day that we have actually been lied to on the location of where the land of Israel is. So it's a major, major lie. And there's proof for there being advanced civilization in ancient Africa, but we are never ever taught about these things in schools. And you know, the general population and the general indigenous person in South Africa is completely ignorant of this history. But to a fact, South Africa, well, the land that is known as South Africa today, is the most mysterious land, you know, in all my research. And you know, we will go through that more and more, and I will prove that more and more throughout this video. So just strap on your seatbelt. And we can also see that South Africa definitely is a blessed land, and probably one of the most blessed lands, and is probably the most mineral rich country in the world, and if not the richest country probably in the world in terms of mineral resources, but we know nothing of it. So hopefully through the power of the Most High and through the truth, we can bring our people back to this knowledge. So this is just one of the ancient sites that's, you know, still remains of our ancient ancestors that built metropolises, mega metropolises, stone cities, man, all over Africa. But this is just one of the most well-preserved ones. But when these Europeans came here, man, most of these things, they destroyed them. They completely obliterated them, man. So yeah, it's completely sad, man, what has happened. But we need to, you know, come back to who we truly are. So the next segment of this video, I want us to discuss the Castle of Good Hope, and we're going to be going on a little bit of a tour of that. So before I go into that, I just also want to go into more scripture as well for reference, and as this video goes along, it will make more sense on why I'm bringing this out. But I'm going to go into a little bit of the Testament of Solomon, and more especially, so I'm not going to read all of this, but just to give a little bit of background, this is when King Solomon was king and building the temple in Jerusalem, and one of his servants was plagued by a spirit, like a demon, that was constantly stealing his food and his money. And King Solomon then went and inquired of the Most High. So I just want to read in verse 4 and verse 5. But the child said to the king, I pray thee, O king, listen to what has befallen all that thy child hath, after we are all released from our work on the temple of Yah. After sunset, when I lie down to rest, one of the evil demons comes and takes away from me one half of my pay and one half of my food. Then he also takes hold of my right hand and sucks my thumb, and lo, my soul is oppressed, and my body waxes thinner every day. Now when I, Solomon, heard this, I entered the temple of Yah and prayed with all my soul, night and day, that the demon might be delivered into my hands, and that I might gain authority over him. And it came about through my prayer that the grace was given to me from Yahweh Sabaoth by Michael his archangel. He brought me a little ring having a seal consisting of an engraved stone, and said to me, Take, O Solomon, king, son of David, the gift which Yahweh Elohim hath sent thee, the highest Sabaoth, which thou shalt lock up all demons of the earth, male and female, and with their help thou shalt build up Jerusalem, where the seal of Yah and this engraving of the seal of the ring sent thee is a pentalpha. Wow, now this is quite interesting. So I want us to have a little bit of a look at what exactly is a pentalpha. If you just do a little bit of a basic search, you find that it is this symbol. Now I find this quite interesting because most people would associate that with Satanism. But that's odd because we see that it's in the scripture and that the Most High gave it to King Solomon to lock up the demons. So we also do know that Satanists, they do take the things of the Most High and do tend to perverse them and pervert them. For example, if scripture says do not drink blood, Satanists are going to do the opposite of that. So maybe they have taken the things of the Most High and perverted them, who knows. But the whole point that I want to bring out is the Cape Castle and the Castle of Good Hope and the Dutch East India Company. Now, I'm not sure if you are aware of this, or if many people are aware of this, but the VOC Dutch East India Company, during the 16th century and 17th century, they had a monopoly on the slave trade, and they were literally the world's richest private corporation, literally. I just want you all to note that the castle, this is the castle of Cape of Good Hope, and it was built by the Dutch East India Company. And I want you guys to notice this peculiar shape that is built in. I find it very, very odd and very, very, very interesting that it's built in that particular manner. And we've just read, in scripture, the pentalpha was given to King Solomon to do what with? So I find it interesting that they built these buildings in this particular manner. It's almost like trying to channel energy from another dimension into this one, I would say. But maybe I'm just reaching. But if you think I'm just reaching, this is also another one of the VOC's castles that they built in Indonesia, and it's also built in a pentagram or pentalpha style. Now that's when I started saying, wow, this is very suspicious indeed. Very, very suspicious indeed. And then I also went on further to research more of their castles. Turns out they have more castles built in this type of shape, so it's not a coincidence. So there seems to be more going on with these type of buildings, and here's also the Pentagon in America as well, built in that type of style. And it almost seems like these people built these buildings in strategic locations. So there's also just to step it up a gear, a source about the Table Mountain in Cape Town, which they say is one of the world's primary energy centers and can radiate electric and spiritual energy, which I find very, very interesting and suspicious, and also like, wow, okay, let's keep that in mind as well as we move on. So this is also some the occult meaning of the number 5. Also just bear in mind that occult doesn't necessarily mean witchcraft or satanic, it just means hidden. And even in the scripture it says that the Most High hides a matter, but it's up to a king to search it out. So I just want to bring out here, it says here in the second paragraph, it is an eminently spherical and circular number because in every multiplication it restores itself and is found terminating the number. It is change of quality because it changes what has 3 dimensions into the sameness of a sphere by moving circularly and producing light. Hence, light is referred to the number 5. And also it is the privation of strife because it unites in friendship the 2 forms of number, even and odd. Also justice from throwing things into the light. Now we know that also that the number 5 also represents the 5 dimensions, length, width, depth, time, and energy also represents the spirit or the things of the spirit. Well, this is also another, on the next page, what I also want to bring out in the second paragraph. It says that the pentalpha or 5-pointed star, an endless complex set of angles was the emblem of health, hygiene. It forms 5 copies of the capital letter A. It is also called the pentagram and the seal of Solomon. So I want to just skip more towards the third paragraph. It says the pentagram was the emblem of safety. The pentacle, the mason's signet mark, was the device borne by Antiochus Soter on a war banner. So this to the Freemasons represents safety, and they venerate the number 5 very much, and I find that also very interesting as well. So I'm going to move on to our next segment of the videos, and yes, all of this we're going to connect it all at the end.
Company ever. Apple, Microsoft, Amazon. It's actually the Dutch East India Company. This company, which was established in 1602, had a peak value of about $8 trillion in 1637, which is more than 3 times the net worth of Apple. Not only it was the first company to ever issue stocks, considered to be the first multinational company, but it also acted like an actual state. It could wage war and establish colonies, imprison and execute people, and even make its own coins. The company was originally founded to protect the Dutch trade in the Indian Ocean, and its primary goal was to dominate the extremely lucrative spice trade in the East Indies. It had a 2-decade-long monopoly on trade activities in Asia, and actually helped fuel what is called the Dutch Golden Age. The company also had its own significant naval forces, and even managed to defeat some of the most prominent European powers of its time, like Britain and
Where I am. Mzansi's oldest building, according to the Europeans' history. This is the oldest building. Man, how privileged and blessed am I to be here. You know, this place is probably drenched and soaked in the blood of my poor ancestors. But here is it. Here is it, my niggas. Oh, insulation is made out of 108 Crime for Justice. Harun Gonsalves is an award-winning artist and activist who believes art has the potential to affect change. Gonsalves is parte. So let's have a look. Let's see. Justice. It's right here. Here's the Camisa. River flowing through the castle. Wow, what an experience. Justice. Justice for my people. Justice for my people. Yo, can't believe I'm here. God damn. God damn. Whoa, this is crazy, man. It's like this whole fort is just like, wow. I can't believe like people built this thing in a matter of like a decade. I don't know, I find that a bit hard to believe. How many slaves did it take to build this place, man? It's another thing to consider. Yo, this is just absolutely quite fascinating. I'm wondering the stories that this place has to tell. I have actual stories, and here's the entrance, just to show you all the castle. I don't know where everything is, but I'm probably gonna have to come here one day and, you know, explore this place properly with a tour guide. But here's the bell. I wonder how old these things are. It's just amazing. You know, our forefathers probably fought on these lands. You know, known as the Camisa. This place is built upon the Camisa River, also known as the Camisa Settlement. You know, Khoi ancestors had their own city and their own port that was basically invaded by Jan van Riebeeck. So, yeah. So, just to give my people a little bit more of a view of this. Damn, I'm at the castle, guys. I'm at the castle of Good Hope, place where it all started, man. This is not a good place for our ancestors. Definitely not. Biren. Let's check the Biren. Cape of Good Hope. This is not Good Hope if you're an indigenous person. This is not Good Hope. This is the Cape, the Castle of Bad Hope if you're indigenous. This is the Castle of Bad Hope. Man, I'm here, people. I'm here. Oh, glory and praises to the Most High. Don't walk on the roof. Try to invade this way. So. More of the bastion. More of the bastion. Here where the guns are situated. Bah! Shooting at our people. Bah! Cannons. See what's in here. Oh, is this an old toilet? Ugh. Maybe. Old toilet. Is here? Inside the castle. What is here? It's also maybe a prison. Hotel. So prison. Prison. People immortalize themselves on these walls. Yo. Damn. Damn. The fuck? What the fuck? It's supposed to house a human being in it? Holy shit. Shit is torture. Holy mother. Damn, it's the type of shit that he did to my people. Shit. Shit. courtyard of the castle of Bad Hope. This is the castle of Bad Hope. The castle of Bad Hope. Yo! It's gully in here, bruh. It's gully. Yeah, it's gully, bruh. It's gully, this place. It's not the castle of Good Hope, it's the castle of Bad Hope. Bad Hope, bruh. Castle. This is the castle of Bad Hope for indigenous people. But I'll be back. I'll be back. I'll definitely be back. In the name of Yahweh. Yo! hectic. Flippin' hectic. Yo. To explore the castle for the first time.
And they decided to trade for the cows with the Khoisan that they met there. But the problem is when they got there, they started taking water without permission. And when the Khoisan came, because they knew this is their land, and according to their culture and tradition, no one was just supposed to come and take water. They were supposed to speak to them first. And when they saw people taking water, they were not happy. So they started throwing stones to warn them that, hey. And instead of the Portuguese who were going with a man called Bartolomeo Diaz, acknowledging that they were doing something wrong, they started shooting at the Khoisan. They shot with their crossbows, they killed one man. The Khoisan got mad. And immediately with that madness, they took spears, they took stones, they took their harpoons that they used to hunt for whales, and they started to fight Diaz. Diaz and his men retreated, got on their ships, and they went. But they had to make a U-turn. They couldn't go all the way to the Indian Ocean and find their way to India. They had to make a U-turn, go back to Europe. In the books of one of the men that was with Bartolomeo Diaz, he says that these men were hunters of sea whales, sea wolves. They grew cannabis. They had coins. And they seemed to be a sophisticated people. They even had domesticated dogs. That is an account that is being given by a man who landed at Sabra, the southern part of South Africa, in 1485. We then had our man Vasco da Gama coming in the 1590s to complete the task that was started by Diaz, to discover South Africa. But they could no longer discover South Africa because they were very clear that there were people there and there were people who were resisting them. So when he came and decided to come with gifts. They got there again, they got out of their ships, and they took gifts to the Khoisan who came to meet them. When they took those gifts to the people, one of the Portuguese or a number of the Portuguese decided to put their white cross, this thing called the Padrão, to show that they had discovered this place. They then started negotiating, trading with the Khoisan. As they were doing this, a number of Khoisan came and took one of the men that came with Vasco da Gama. And they took him back to the water where one of their own was shot. And they started pointing to the water and asking, why did you take our water without permission and why did you shoot us?
I'm disappointed in you, John. 2 days and you haven't made any progress. My enemies are still out there.
Well, it's not like you gave me an address. I've had to follow the ley lines, see where they converge in places that would be conducive to your kind.
Or are you just marking time while you plot against me?
I'm getting close, Barul.
Get.
Percentage of the door, but they always thought they were a day away from fame and fortune. Maybe it would have worked out if they hadn't ended up in Newcastle. The Casanova Club was run by a twisted bastard named Alex Logue. fancied himself a sorcerer. Had what he called magical convocations in the rooms under the club. Don't ask me what that means. I don't want to know. But I do know that Logue used his daughter, Astra, as a focal point for his spells. A human channel to draw the dark magic down into the physical world. His own child. Can you imagine? Oh, it was bad. And then, John Constantine went and made it worse. You see, John was another one who fancied himself a magician. Been studying the occult since he was a boy. Claimed he had a natural gift. Logue had been a mentor to him. But when John found out what was happening with the girl, he decided he was going to save Astra. He could have just called the cops, but that would have been too easy. And of course, Chaz, the loyal idiot, was right there with him. And what better way to stop a devil like Alex Logue than by summoning a bigger one? A real one. That was John.
Weird cone-shaped tools that I started collecting, scattered across the mountains throughout southern Africa. One of the best examples, there's a heart. You can clearly see the aorta, where the aorta goes at the top. You see the coronary artery crossing the heart. This is about 3 times the size of a human heart. So this could possibly fit the shape of an Anunnaki. If the Anunnaki were 3 times the size or twice the size of humans, that could be an Anunnaki heart. It seems that when these body parts get trapped in mud and water, they completely and utterly transmutate and transform from whatever organ it was or body part with the internal structure. It completely metamorphosizes into very dense crystalline rock called hornfels in geological terms. We have teeth, hearts, ribs, and I'm picking up more and more hearts. In fact, some of them look like they still have organic material in it. By the way, we have identified a few of these fossils and taken them away to the lab to extract DNA. Here's a bone knuckle, and you can see when my feet next to it, the size of that. This is like a foot in a shoe, like some sort of a foot in a leather shoe. This is bone with muscle attached to it. So that's what these rocks look like. That's when the whole muscle and tissue together fossilize. A bunch of sort of reptilian skin with the meat attached to it. This is a close-up of the reptilian skin on one of them. This is my favorite one, where you can actually see the skin at the top and how the epithelial cells are growing up into the skin before they actually reach the top. This entire thing is one piece of Hornfels rock, completely and utterly metamorphosized. It's one of my favorite pieces. Again, the skin there, and then these claw marks or teeth marks. Somebody was having a little steak when giant wall of mud came and engulfed them all and turned them into mud fossils. And that brings us to the whole biblical story. When the gods were on earth, there were giants. In the Jewish encyclopedia, we get told about the rabbinical tradition, about the Anakim that are of the same titanic races as the Rephaim, the Nephilim, the Gibborim, the Zamzumim, and the Emim. They talk about them like they knew who they were. Well, we have no idea who they were. In South Africa, we have the Boskop skull that's about 20% larger than the human skull. And the book of Enoch, where it clearly talks about the giants that were 3,000 ells tall. So I looked up what an ell is, and an ell is just short of half a meter. 3,000 ells would make these giants 1.5 kilometers tall, or just short of a mile. Just to remind you again of that knuckle, which is quite large, but nothing compared to this one. I mean, this is the size of a Volkswagen Beetle. When you look at this angle, it looks like it's got that reptilian skin there on top as well. And then obviously we have the heart, the aorta, and if you think this is an interesting aorta and a heart, how about this size? We've been told that the Anunnaki put this heart there.
Had the creators of Adam's calendar really existed 200,000 or 300,000 years before the ancient Sumerians and Egyptians? There was more, though. Tellinger knew that many stone circles, not just Adam's calendar, existed throughout the remote areas of South Africa. At that point, historical record had loosely documented upwards of 20,000 such sites. Knowing what he knew about the incredible age of Adam's calendar, Tellinger took a renewed interest in these previously ignored stone circles. First, he performed a survey of the area on foot and by air, counting at least 100,000 individual ruin sites. Then, using satellite imagery and aerial photography, he actually increased his count to an unbelievable 10 million stone circles spread all across the subcontinent, through South Africa, Zimbabwe, Mozambique, and Botswana. It was, according to Tellinger, the largest cluster of stone ruins found anywhere on Earth to date. More incredibly, Tellinger noted that each of these stone circles seemed to be connected to the others by stone channels and surrounded by an ongoing grid of agricultural terraces. This suggested a vast vanished civilization who grew crops on a gigantic scale. In fact, vast may not quite cover it. The stone circles seem to be remnants of a large metropolis stretching for upwards of 10,000 square miles, which Tellinger estimated must have had a population of at least 10 million people. Was this really evidence of a gigantic civilization which had existed in South Africa hundreds of thousands of years before the Sumerians or Egyptians?
I don't know about you all, but that was a lot of information and some mind-blowing stuff to consider there, man. You know, South Africa being, a sacred land. We see that the Israelites journeyed south of Egypt to get to the land of Canaan. We also see that South Africa has ancient remnants of giants. We see that the city of Cape Town is also one of the main energy centers of where the ley lines converge on Earth. So all these things, man, they all add up, and it just all adds to the mystery of South Africa, man, and that this is truly a very sacred and blessed land. There's just honestly too much to consider, and even the fact that, this particular castle, the Castle of Good Hope, and the shape that it's built in, it makes me to believe, that these people have built it in a very particular way to maybe channel dark demonic energy from other realms to try and oppress black people, to feed the souls of our people to these demonic entities. And all we can say is, all praises to the Most High, because He's leading us through His Spirit to show us this truth. And it does say that, in 2 Baruch verse 30, that the Most High will wake us up in the land of our captivity. So we give thanks to the Most High for, being faithful and true to His word. And I just also want to encourage you all to also just dig deeper and dig further, because everything is not as it seems, man. There's more to this life than meets the eye, man. There is a spiritual world out there, and we are completely oblivious to what's going on in the spirit. And the Bible is our history book, and it's rightfully ours, and it's about time that we claim back what's ours, claim back our history, claim back our greatness, and claim back our ancient holy scriptures, because these heathens are continuously misinterpreting it, misrepresenting it, and it's time that the true people of the book take hold of their own book and establish righteousness on this earth. I hope you guys found this lesson edifying and thought-provoking, and we give all praises and glory to the Most High. May you all and take on this endeavor, and may we repent and turn back to the Most High's laws, statutes, and commandments. With that, I give all love to you all, my brothers and sisters, and I say shalom.
Why should you cross over?